More than I need, what you want, girl, it's yours. Give me your feelings, I just can't ignore. 'Cause all I want is you, baby. Give me your time, all your love, I've been patient.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Russell the Fourth.
Hey everybody, it is me, Brandi, and we are back. Did y'all miss us?
Yeah. We are back.
It's only been like a year, so
Nah, don't do that.
y'all shouldn't have missed us too much.
You're not gonna minimize the amount of time we've been going.
It hasn't even been a full year.
See, it doesn't feel like it's been a long time, but when we go back to the fact that we tell them it's just gonna be a couple months.
I don't remember saying that.
We can pull it back.
I don't think I agreed to that.
I'm gonna try to find it. Play it right here.
I don't think I agreed to just a couple months. I said we gonna be back when we be back.
Nah, you didn't say that.
I did.
We told these people a couple months. It has been a dang near a year.
Define a couple.
When was the last? When did we end? What was it like? Has
I
it
think
been a year?
I think it was May. It was like May.
Just shy.
Yeah, I said, well, I said it hasn't even been a year yet.
Sheesh.
Don't be rushing us. We was coming back almost. No, low key, we almost didn't come back.
Golly. So yeah, let's talk about it. Season 5 was very close to being the last season. Why was that? Let's talk about the reasons why.
Because we almost got divorced.
So, all right.
Just kidding.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
I think though, after season 5, at least for me, I felt like we didn't have nothing else to talk about. Like, I don't know. I just felt like seasons 1 through 5 were like rapid fire. It was only a few months between, and there are really only so many subjects you can talk about on the topic of relationships. Like, we run through the major, like, cheating and sex and divorce and dating. And so I was like, man, I just don't have anything else to say about anything. And what I really think it boiled down to me, for me, was it's just like we had to live a little bit more life. Like, we had only been married just 2 years when we ended, like 2 years and a month. And it doesn't give you a lot of like material, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this podcast specifically. It is legitimately based on our life.
Right.
Like, there's some things that we talk about just because we think it needs to be talked about. But most of it is like, okay, where are we at right now? And most of our topics come from stuff that we're living right now. So it's like, we'll never be done talking about stuff because we not done living.
Well, I mean, I felt uninspired. Like, I really felt like, here we are. First of all, I think our seasons, they mess me up because it's like we've been podcasting for 3 years, but we have 5 seasons. It's like, okay.
6 now.
That's a little,
Season
like,
6.
How?
Season
But,
6.
I was just a little, I don't know. I want to do this from a place of like, I want to be here. I want to give good information. I want to be entertaining as much as, just telling your real life story can be. But I just felt uninspired. I was like, yeah, I just don't have it.
Yeah, and I had a small degree of burnout. I felt like this and let's be clear, we do this by ourselves. Like, it's just me and Brandi. So shooting, going live, editing, she's doing clips, like it's a lot of work. And when you're doing that, you also got 5 kids. You also work full-time jobs. You're also pursuing different passions. It's just, it leaves little time.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So I was experiencing a little degree of burnout. So even though I didn't feel like we were done, like I didn't feel like I ran out of stuff to say, but I still was like, man, there's so much I wanted to do outside of the podcast. And I felt like the podcast was becoming a barrier.
And baby, I was done. I don't know what to tell y'all. If it wasn't for Jesus himself,
what did the Lord say?
You're not done. I know what you think, but you're not done. But if it wasn't for just having a really close relationship with God and being really in tune to what he says you should do, like, of course, our flesh gets in the way all the time. Like, I'm just not going to do that. And I'm going to tell you, I'm that person to the core. Like, I'm not going to do nothing I don't want to do unless the Lord tell me. And that's where I was. Like, unless the Lord tell me that we need to come back for another season, I'm good on WTNTU. I love y'all, but I just didn't have it to give. But in the 8 months or so that we've been gone, God has definitely spoke and said that this is what we should be doing, where we should be. And so we back to do what we only can do. Nobody else can do it like we do.
That part. And also, I do want to say, man, we've legitimately built kinship. Is that a word? Kinship?
I'm sure it is, but not in the way you using it.
We definitely built such a camaraderie with our community.
It's family.
We have such a strong community here. And it's people who I've never stood in the same room with who I'm legitimately like, man, I wonder what such and such been up to.
What up, O'Reilly?
What up, though? Like, I wonder what such and such has been up to. It's so many people that, like, we only know from the podcast. But when I say, like, the Lord has, like, placed y'all in our hearts, like almost to the point of, like, like family. It's family. We're what they never told us, family in a community. And when I started thinking about coming back to the podcast, I thought about the relationships that were formed and the people that were blessed by this platform. And we were blessed by the platform. There's some stuff we probably wouldn't have talked through as much as we talked about it had we not been doing the podcast.
I mean, there was a part of me that as the time went on, I started to miss it. And I started to miss it more when we would just get stopped by random people like, oh man, when y'all coming back? Y'all still podcasting? Y'all still, I miss y'all. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it is having an impact. Cause I think when you get into the throes of it, sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees, right? It's hard to like see the impact that you're having on people, because that's really what we started this for. It wasn't like for fame and fortune, because that didn't happen. But it was really to tell people what they never told us and really share our story in a way that it impacted others. And then once you start to see that impact, it's like, oh, how can we let this go? Not yet.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. What has been up? Let's fill the people in. It's been dang near a year since they last talked to us. What has been going on in the Davis household?
Man, I've been chilling. I got new eyebrows. I hope y'all can see them on here. I've been relaxing. I've been having a great time. I was in Barbados.
You have not just been chilling.
What have I been doing then?
Let me tell you something about Brandi. Okay, like
Chill.
Brandi is so saved. Like, it's not even. It's.
Let me saying it like it's a problem.
No, it's amazing. You're the most Christian I've ever met.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
like legitimately, like been going so hard, growing spiritually, and this time off, I want to say like every day, multiple times a day, I see her in her word. She's praying. She's reading books. She's becoming well studied. She's been speaking more. She's been teaching more. Like, she's really been out here like serving. Even on the ministry aspect, outreach. She's out in the community. She's been feeding at the homeless shelter. Like, this time off, I don't think she stopped pouring. Like, she definitely pours into herself. Like, she gets her time with God. But I mean, in terms of just work, I'm in awe. I literally be looking back like, how does she do all of this? It's amazing.
Just only the Lord.
Using them. I just been chilling. No,
I mean,
you
I
have
feel
not.
Like I just been chilling. Like
you don't know how to chill.
Well, that's true. I've been chilling in my way, which is just doing what I feel like the Lord has called me to do. Yep. And that does not feel like work to me. That doesn't feel like I've been stretching myself. It's when I start to do the stuff that other people been called to do. Not just like shots fired.
You relax. You relax.
No, but seriously, all that stuff is well and good, but it just doesn't feel like work to me at all. That's where my heart is. That's what I've been doing. Thank you for telling them what I've been doing.
You was just about
now
to
tell them what you've been doing.
I can tell you legitimately were like, you're not gonna tell them nothing, huh? You just gonna
that stuff doesn't even like, it literally doesn't even come to mind. It's like when you ask your kids like about cleaning their rooms, like it's what they're supposed to do. Like, no, you're not getting paid for that. You're not getting accolades for that. You're supposed to do that.
Accolades, but you didn't even realize you were doing it.
I
said, "What are you doing?" I've been chilling. No, you haven't. Like, when I was saying it, we were like, "Oh, I was doing that stuff."
Yeah. I guess I did do something.
I guess I was doing some stuff.
You know, sometimes it take other people to be like, just like, nah, it's a big deal, because it don't feel like that.
Let me ask you: when you do that stuff, is it pouring out or pouring in?
Both.
Both simultaneous.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. I don't think that I've ever served in a capacity, even if like sometimes I get frustrated. I've never served in a capacity where it's like, I just don't want to do this. I hate doing this. And then I do it and it's like, I didn't get anything out of that.
Absolutely.
Not that I do it to get anything, but it never feels like a burden. It never feels like work. The planning sometimes is difficult. It's hard. I'm juggling everything. But once you see that vision come to life, all that's out the window.
Wow.
Like when we were at the shelter yesterday, it was like, you got to speak the day you get there. Like I don't have no time to prep for any of that, but 4 souls were saved. Like, so, okay, so what? I had to speak and I had to be uncomfortable for a second. 4 people
growth.
gave their life to Christ.
That's growth.
So,
absolutely.
what have you been doing? I see you just waiting for me to ask you.
Yes.
We people want to know.
We got to get back into the swing.
The people want to know. What you been doing?
So definitely still been working. I've really been enjoying it. For those of you who don't know, I work in a school. I've been doing that as a profession for some time. I work with kids my whole adult life. That's been a really rewarding season. This season specifically has been really rewarding. I'm starting to see some of the fruit from some seeds I was planting a long time ago. And God's been allowing me to see that. I don't eat Taco Bell that often. It'd be random times I go. Literally yesterday, I was like, it was almost random. Like, man, I want some Taco Bell. I went and got one taco. And when I went through the drive-through line, I saw an old student of mine. And I was like, okay, God, I see why you put this on my heart. Wasn't for no daggone taco. My old student was there who, at the chapter that I knew her, I would say, man, Lord, I'm praying. I don't know what's going to come of this. Had every excuse in the world to just not make it, but graduating with honors, working a job, so I'm seeing more and more of that now.
I'm glad this is recorded. So on them days when you come home and you like,
no, they still gonna get on my nerves. They still gonna get on my nerves, but
I was like, see, you're in your rewarding season.
Listen,
seeds being planted.
The work is being done still, and that could be frustrating. But God's allowing me to see some fruit, so that's been really dope. On the professional side, on the other side of the professional side, the music thing's been going really good. So, we were recording when I did gig, right? Like the podcast was a thing.
Don't
right?
ask me nothing about no timeline. I don't know. Everything just mashed together.
So, long story short, started working with the management company, and that's been really rewarding. Shout out to homie KP.
Hey, KP.
Shout out AT. All of 1218. They've just been a real blessing to my music ministry, and it's afforded me to do some dope things. Been doing some radio, some summer songs been getting playlisted, and Highlight went to Barbados and performed there at the end of February, top of March. We were there for like the end of February, top of March, and it was amazing.
Shout out to Barbados. If y'all listening, what up though? We coming back.
If you're in Barbados, you have found a place in our hearts. So that was amazing. So that's just been it. Been recording, been putting out music, and been really enjoying this season. So,
and we can't do this, what we've been doing, without talking about our kids. Our kids have been busy. So we've been being full-time parents. Is it something more than full-time? Because I feel like even when we don't got them, we still, I'm definitely full-time. I don't know about you, but I'm full-time and a half.
We split days pretty evenly. You just need to know how to not parent when they go to the other parent.
It's not possible. It's not possible. So yeah, our kids are growing. We have almost a high schooler, 2 middle schoolers, and a second grader, and a college student, a junior. Goodness gracious. So yeah. Yeah, he's
going to be a junior?
Thing. Yeah, this is end of this semester, he'll be a junior. Yeah, crazy, right?
That I still don't. The math ain't math. We will have to do some math when we finish the episode. Like
our kids are doing amazing.
Yeah.
They surprise us every day on just how well they've managed to figure this blended family thing out, and they have been a true blessing to us. So we cannot forget them. Hey, y'all.
What up?
Because I know y'all all subscribe on YouTube. So what's up?
Personally, between you and I, where are we at in this chapter? You know, they followed every chapter of our marriage. What is this chapter
You
hitting
know what
on?
I was thinking about upstairs? I was wondering how many people thought we wasn't coming back because we was doing bad.
You know, most people that like put their relationship out there, they don't make it. Like the moment they start writing books and like how to 10 ways to have the best marriage ever, like it's doomed for disaster. So look, I wouldn't be surprised if some people's
I
thinking.
can't wait till we go live because I'll be like, how many of y'all was plotting on us? How many of y'all was like, something must be going on?
They definitely
they ain't came back.
They ain't
like
even
they
posting
said
no
they was.
TikToks or nothing. I ain't seen nothing. Y'all messy.
And wrong. Like, I think we are finally settled into what it feels like to be married to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think for whatever reason, as divorcees, you still fight the stigma, I don't know, the demons of being married to another person and not trying to bring that stuff into your current relationship. So when somebody in your new relationship does something that looks like something that used to happen in your old relationship, you get all of that thrown at you. And I think we finally settled past that part of like, okay, we're married to each other and we get to decide what that looks like.
Yeah. I have new context. Like before, my only context for marriage is what my past experiences were.
Absolutely.
So almost every situation I would reference back to my old context. Oh, when this happens, this is how I felt. When this has happened in the past, this is how I would react. And I think, I can't speak for you. Maybe this is what you're saying, but like, yeah, I definitely have a different viewpoint on a lot of different things. Like I have found that there's multiple ways to have arguments. There's multiple ways to approach a situation. Like this is my context now. So I'm not bringing in past experiences when we have
You talking too general. Give me an example.
Of what?
Something that we faced in this relationship that made you flashback to your old situation and how you respond now.
That's a very specific question. You're not gonna be time to think. Now, I don't have a lot of examples for this because this doesn't happen often. But, you know, intimacy was always an issue that came out of my last marriage. And I always had issues around intimacy. In initiating intimacy was always a thing that was like anxiety for me. It's like, oh, should I not? But I would say that's something I'm not dragging into as much. There's still room there to grow.
And you mean anymore?
Yeah, I don't drag it into our current situation as much. Like I think I'm starting to conquer that. Like initiating sex is something that I'm getting more comfortable with.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you concur? Or do you?
Y'all know how we do. We're not gonna sugarcoat nothing.
Yeah.
No, I definitely think that we've had that conversation enough now that it's like, okay, you don't have to battle being rejected in that area. I think we have enough data now that shows that 9 times out of 10, if you initiate, you're going to get it.
The Lord is so good. Like I don't know why he blesses me, but he does. He's just so good to me.
It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. So I have seen for sure you initiate more than when we first got married. Like when we first got married, it was on me. Like I'm like, hey, you wanna? And if I didn't, we wouldn't. But I definitely feel like you take that initiative now because you're just at ease with the fact that like I don't have to fight that.
Yeah. And honestly, like I'd be lying if I said the fact that like I don't have to deal with as much rejection as I used to. Like I'm not gonna lie, like that's definitely a factor as to why I'm more comfortable. But it's also like just healing. Like the scar tissue is starting to disappear, and because of that, I can look at intimacy from a place of like just enjoyment. Like it doesn't have to be at one point it was
a chore,
not even a chore. It was just like
non-existent.
No, it was painful. Like not the act of
You're talking
intimacy.
about after your marriage.
During.
Okay.
During, like, it was just intimacy was an area of pain, right? And it was an area of frustration and embarrassment. I can't even talk to the homies about this because it's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? So anything around that just gave me anxiousness and you know, it's just not that anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I found a lot of joy sharing with my wife, and because of that, now, like, it's excitement. You know, it's like, the kids is gone. I'm finna get it popping.
I think that's one thing that, like, if we are going to talk about what they never told us, like, that people just don't acknowledge that once any kind of relationship, it doesn't have to be a marriage that ended in divorce and then you moved on, but how much you carry in your body, in your spirit from past relationships into new relationships. And you don't even know until those things come up. Like, I remember, like, feeling like this. So I'm going to tell you what mine is. We don't argue a lot, or really at all. Like, I feel like we have disagreements. We definitely get attitudes with each other, but at some point in that day, we're going to talk it out, and it's going to be talked about in a manner that doesn't involve screaming. It doesn't involve belittling. What I realized in this relationship is, like, there's a little bitty toxic part of me that's been built up through other relationships that, like, I felt like I needed that. Like, it's weird. Like, I wanted to argue. I'm like, I don't want to scream or nothing. Just want to talk about everything. Like,
yeah, I've heard that a couple times.
Some like, insults I want to say.
Yeah.
And I think what I've learned in this relationship is just, like, there's better ways to communicate. And what I experienced in past relationships is, like, if the offense teeters on this requires an argument to resolve. Like, we got to duke it out, and then we can get over it. But what being in a relationship with somebody who's just like, yeah, I'm not going to argue with you, frustrating, has taught me is that, like, I don't have to argue. And there are better ways to resolve it, that in the end, I don't have to apologize for anything that I said in the heat of the moment, and we don't have to get over insults that we've thrown at each other. Like, we can deal with the issue at hand and we can move forward. Like, I don't know how many times us resolving an issue has ended in sex, and it doesn't feel like makeup sex. Like, it's not, it's just like, no, I really love you sex, and I'm sorry that we had to have this little moment of tension, but
some of the best rounds, some of the best sessions came off of some.
It's just like a deep conversation. Well, yeah. I don't even say heated. It's just like a deep discussion of, like, this is how I feel. I need you to understand that so that we can move forward.
And there's levels of intimacy that you reach in those places that you don't find other places.
For real.
Like, working through a tense situation, coming out on the other side and still having affection and love in your heart for that person leads to some bomb sex.
It does, for sure. And just good sleep. Like, I remember
Always.
I remember one night we were talking in the dark, just both laying on our backs, just having a really deep conversation about how we feel about a certain situation. Oh, it was about the state of our relationship, like where we were at that point. And, like, I slept so good that night. Like, it didn't end in sex. It just ended in
peace,
resolution. Yeah. Right? Like, I was able to pour my heart out. You were able to pour your heart out. We heard each other, and we vowed to do better. And, man, I was like, that was some of the best sleep I ever had. Like, this is just not heaviness on my heart as I'm trying to fall asleep. Like, it's just, like you said, it's just peace. It's good.
Absolutely. So. And that's an area that we've always kind of stuck our flag in and pitched our tent on, is like communication. And there's a lot of more work we got to do in that area. So stay tuned for that. Like, there's definitely some more work to be done in the area of communication. And that's a way we want to pour back into the community.
Oh, I thought you were saying, like, we still got to work on that.
No, I'm saying there's people that actively listen to us who need help in that area.
Yes, I agree.
And the podcast ain't enough. So there's some things we got for y'all.
I like the way you said it that time.
For sure.
I was like, man, we still got work to do. Like,
I mean, we gonna work till we go, but
always.
But nah, I don't. I think the heavy lifting
is. You was about to hit me with something.
Nah, chill.
Here we go again.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm hype about?
What?
Is that over our break. Now, once again, we have been gone for just shy of 1 year. And number one, y'all are the dopest. I don't know if these are new listeners or if y'all was just like, they taking too long, so I'm going to go back and start from the beginning. But what I say,
sorry, dang.
y'all still been watching episodes and y'all still been engaged.
Yes.
So we got people writing us with topics, with questions. You know, every season or a couple seasons we did the Ask R&B segment where you could write us in, and we ain't even put out no Ask R&B fillers, but y'all was just like, hey, look, so I don't know when y'all coming back, but when y'all do,
I got issues.
Check this out.
I need y'all to come back and talk about it. And if y'all not gonna come back and talk about it, I'm just gonna ask the question.
that part. In season 6, we starting off on with heat, like
Yeah, so we did get somebody to ask a question. And because it is very relevant to our season right now, we just told y'all we're sailing in our relationship. Like we love each other, like for real. And we want to express that love for one another. But there do be barriers sometimes.
Let's talk about it.
So the question was, she says, so I've never, this coming from a female. So I've never felt comfortable having sex with my husband while my kids were home. I'm just not into it. No desire, no interest, no nothing. I'm completely not turned on. But when they're not home, get ready. Do other people struggle with this? And how do they remedy it? Do other people struggle with this? We got to ask y'all. When we get ready to go on live, we need y'all to come talk about if y'all struggle with this.
That part. Matter of fact, we need to clip this. Let's make this a clip right here.
Bam.
And y'all let us know, is intimacy while the kids is at the crib, is that a problem?
Is it a no-go? What do you do to remedy it? You want to get busy, but the kids is right next door. How do you solve that? How do we solve that?
I think we have developed a level of, I don't care. Now, I would say in the beginning, it was weird. And there's an added weird when it's a blended family.
Yes.
Because, like, you know, there's a level of, like, comfort you have with your kids that have always just been in the house, right? Like, your kids are seeing you in your drawers walking around or something. Like, there's a level of comfort you have. It's like, they be all right, just, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but these someone else's babies. Like I just met this child like, a couple years ago. And I don't know if I'm at that level of comfort, right? And so blended families have an added layer of barrier there for me. So in the beginning, I would say it was strange. Now, I'm a soldier, so we're going to fight through. But I think for me, I was really excited about establishing a fun, rewarding sexual dynamic with my wife. And that overrode whatever discomforts or whatever it was. So like if there was an afternoon where it was like we feeling something and the kids, we got all 5 kids there, it's like, shh, look, come on. Like I'm trying to get it popping. You know what I mean? I'm trying to see. I will say it's not the same. Like sex when the kids are gone versus when they're here. It's two different types of sex.
Let me chime in here.
Chime in.
Because I don't feel that way at all. I mean, I definitely feel
Which part?
The last part that you just said. When the kids are not here, sex is totally different. It's like no holds barred. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want,
loud as you
want. But I struggle with feeling sexy when the kids are here. So that means that like the stuff that leads to sex at night, like coming in and I'm in the kitchen and rubbing on my butt or holding hands or like laying on each other on the couch. Like I don't get those vibes when there's kids running around. I don't feel like I want you to touch me. I want to be intimate. I already struggle with that. So then when the kids are there, it's like, I got stuff to do. Like, what are you doing?
You be a little bit more turned up when the kids there.
That is such a lie.
You get to like, ooh, we sneaking.
So
like,
this is like where the beginning of the conversation comes in because he wasn't really big on initiating sex, especially in the beginning. So when you did, when the kids were there, it's like, okay, I'm not going to turn you down, but I also like don't really like doing this because for me, I don't know if we share a lot, but like it's no way for us, me to be quiet when we have sex. Like it's not like I'm just Like it's just,
yo.
I don't have that button. Like I don't.
You didn't have to give an example, Mom. Like that was like you got to get back domesticated. You got to get pod domesticated again. Because what was that?
I feel like I always said whatever I felt on the pod.
Why do you sound like a sad dog?
Well, I'm just saying, like I don't have a little meek demure moan. Like so, it's either you gonna get it or you not gonna get it. And so when the kids are here, it's hard to fight that back. And then it makes it it makes it less enjoyable for me. Like just the other night, I was like, I don't like doing this when the kids are here. I literally told you that. Did I or did I not? You probably ain't hear nothing because you just be.
Nah, you was saying it, but you was saying one thing. But
I mean, it's not like I don't want it. I'm just saying, like
you seem like
I be trying to let loose.
You got the way you're trying
Your
to go.
daughter in the living room was like, I don't know if she's gonna go back home and tell her mommy that you.
Nah, all right, relax. Calm down.
So I fight that. I really do.
There's definitely like barriers when the kids are there. I think it's important not to stifle the flame.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like if you're feeling something versus the like, and this is a little different because the person's writing in saying like she doesn't like. Her body doesn't respond like when the kids are there, and that's a comfort level. And I think a big part of sex is comfort.
Do you think the age of the kids matter? Like we've got a wide variety.
Like older kids are like when they know what's going on.
Just like how do you think they got here?
Nah, it's different for me.
Oh really?
It's different for me.
Nah, if our 21-year-old is in the house.
Oh, that's
about to get this work.
Nah, because them looks be like,
do what you want to do.
Like, good morning. Be like, don't talk to me, bro.
Have your way, sir.
No, but when they don't know what's going on and you can just lie to them, that's why I'm cool. What was that? Oh, I was tickling mommy.
No, I don't like that. See, we're totally opposite of that because I don't like that. I don't want our 7-year-old coming in like, mommy, last night I woke up and I heard you screaming. What was wrong? I'm gonna be like,
we was wrestling.
Hey, you remember that time she walked out the room with the rose? Like, mommy, what is this? Like stuff like that.
You telling
I can't
too much of our business on this here podcast.
I can't handle stuff like that. I freeze like, go put that back. Don't touch that. Go wash your hands.
You ain't give her a version of what it was?
No. What else supposed to tell her?
Tell me it was a toy.
No. Because she gonna say, can she play with it? Then what?
Say it's for grown-ups.
And then she gonna say, what do grown-ups do with a toy that kids can't do with a toy? You know she's smart. She gonna
say it's grown.
Yeah, no.
Tell her it's for grown-ups.
She don't need all that information. Go put it back. Don't touch it. Go wash your hands. Okay?
Now you just gotta treat it like, what is this? It's a forbidden.
I feel like the younger the kids are, well, if they're babies, it's different. But if they're old enough to be like, something strange is going on in there. I don't want them coming and knock on the door. Don't ask me for no water. Like they have to be asleep.
Most of the time that's what I'm saying. Like
they
most of the time they're like, it's bedtime, y'all. And that's another thing. Like when they're kids, I can't speak for all kids. Most kids, when they out. Especially if they're in their room, they out.
Oh, you mean sleeping?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, like the 18-year-old, the 17-year-old, he gonna pop up like, what's going on?
I just feel like you know what's going on, so you know to stay in your room, be quiet, and just let it happen.
That's disgusting.
It's not disgusting at all. And I think
as being you know this, like put yourself in the kid's shoes.
I've been in the kid's shoes.
How did that feel?
I just was like, ew, and I just went on by my business.
Nah, don't do that. You still tell that story with all horror.
I wasn't a kid. I wasn't 17 though. I was like 9.
I remember being 16 and knowing what was happening now was the most horrifying thing. I put on the headphones and I tried to drown it out, and I truly felt so uncomfortable.
But you want to subject your own children to that.
What I'm saying is that when I heard those noises before and I just didn't know what was going on, and just
when you became aware, it just grossed you out more.
Oh my God. It didn't gross me out before. I didn't know what was happening.
I just feel like we have an unfair advantage than most people who are probably listening because we are a blended family and we do share time away. So we actually have days, 3 or 4 days, depending on the week, with no children in the home. So we get to experience that. But there are people who like,
They don't
mommy
get
and
days
daddy
off.
live there, and how do you work through that? I don't think that not having your kid or having your kids in the home, it can't be a barrier. So you have to find a way to work through it. Whether that's music, whether that's you wait till they go to sleep, or you sneak downstairs in the laundry room, or you build yourself a sex shed, hit up the lady from Netflix. Like
How to Build a Sex Room on Netflix. Like,
you got to figure it out.
These people is determined to get it popping.
Yeah, you got to figure it out, because I have the unfair advantage of personally knowing the person who asked the question, and like, they are mom and dad. They live in the house with their children. How do you?
I don't remember who asked. You got to tell me.
Well, I'll tell you later. But how do you not feel it? Do you ship your kids off every time you want to have sex? That's just not realistic.
Yeah, and over like, and I'm having a hard time like landing here, because like I said, comfort is important. You know, you talk about intimacy, which is like, you want to be comfortable. You can go through the motions, but to really enjoy yourself, you have to be able to respond in a way, you know what I mean, that gives you satisfaction. That way it doesn't become just like a chore. And it's like, oh, he wants it, she wants it. And you know what I mean? I just got to do it.
Yeah, I feel like the only way to work through that is to do it though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So don't stifle the intimacy. Like, the fire cannot go out. It cannot, under
The kids
no
got here some kind of
circumstances.
way, like
You know what I'm saying? Like, they gonna be okay.
you got to figure it out.
Gotta figure it out, because you can lose something and have a really hard time getting it back. Like when you learn how to function in your relationship without sex, outside of sex, I think you're going down the wrong path. And I'm not talking about people who don't have the option. Like, of course, health reasons, other factors in life where maybe there's a season, or maybe that's just life now where sex is just different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where life circumstances come up that are within the sphere of your control, and you just decide, it's not convenient.
Yeah.
It's, and then you get used to life outside of that. You start sleeping in different beds. You start playing with your rose solo, and you in the room over here doing your thing. He got him a little toy, he on his phone, and now you're learning intimacy outside of one another. And now we're tiptoeing on the space of sexual immorality, because now this thing that God gave us to enjoy together, now we're learning how to do it opposite of one another. And if we being honest, some of us, just like we might have a problem having sex, but we do some other stuff when the kids is there. like when you was in your single season, you wasn't denying yourself then.
Yeah.
Not everybody. You know what I'm saying? I know some people's like, nah, I'm not with that. But I'm just saying, keep the fire burning however you can.
Yeah, I feel like at least me, it does feel better when you can make it like a little game. Like the moments where
Now you talking. Come
I
on.
ain't gonna get too specific, but the moments where like it's like, hey, nobody sees us sneaking away, and all the kids are in the living room and they're playing or whatever, and we just creep away slowly and go handle
I
our
like
business.
that.
Like that stuff is fun. It's just the overt stuff for me that's like, okay, they see you grabbing my butt.
My favorite part is the after, when you just got to go back to being regular parents and y'all just got done, defiling each other. You got to pass by the kitchen and be like, ooh.
See, it's just
That's the part I like.
It's too much. For me, it's like the sneak from the bedroom to the bathroom when I'm trying to clean up. It's like, so like 007 coming around the corner, like
looking out like, jeez,
she just in there running water. She ain't even use the bathroom. To me, I feel like the kids are trying to figure out what I'm in there doing. Why are you taking a shower in the middle of the day?
Mind your business. Like, mind the business that pays you. Like, I
just don't want to have to explain myself. That's it. I'm good with it. I just don't want to have to explain what was happening in there.
Here's the reality, that most of the time, what we're going through has more to do with us than it does the kids.
Yeah.
Like 8 times out of 10, aside from the few times they might be extra nosy or be all in your business, it's more so our own stuff that creates the barrier between intimacy when the kids are around, right? And also, it's also our own stuff that like, well, I want to be careful how I say this. I'm not gonna say it.
Well, okay.
I'm not gonna say it because I don't want it to come off wrong, but essentially, like, it's us. It's us. We have to find a way to make intimacy work. And 9 times out of 10, the kids, like, they thrive in environments where they can see love in all facets. I'm not saying like be as loud as you want to because the kids need to know what it's like to, like, I'm not saying that. That's weird.
I remember our pastors having this conversation with us. Like, they need to know, your boys need to know what it's like to love a woman, what that looks like. I'm attracted to my wife. We're not just strangers who live in a house together. Like, I love her, and me loving her looks like this. And
that's why I don't shy away from that. Like, personally, that was one of the, I don't want to say that because I don't.
You got to stop what you want to say it. Just say it.
Well, we're not pro-divorce.
Yes.
And I don't encourage that. So I was trying to stop myself from saying that was one of my deciding factors on why I got divorced because.
But was it?
It was. It was. And I'm not justifying this because divorce is not the way. Hear me when I say it.
Look in the camera.
Divorce is not the way, okay? For me, I thought about the situation, of course, as loving parents. One of the reasons why we stay is always the kids. It's always a reason why we want to work it out. Most of the time, so, man, I don't want my kids to go through this because it's not just you that's getting divorced. Your kids go through it too. But on the other side of that, I was thinking about what they would be getting raised in, what they would be seeing, the example that they would be given on what a marriage looks like. And that was a deterrent for me because I'm like, yo, I legitimately want to give them what it looks like when you grow up in front of a loving, caring, affectionate relationship.
Yeah.
Yep. So in this season, I don't shy away from it. Like, no, I'm gonna slap your butt. You gonna see it.
The truth is, your kids are going to learn it from somewhere, and I would much rather prefer they learn it from what it looked like being modeled healthily. Is that a word? Healthily.
You said it right the first time.
in their. Wait.
We put an F in there to correct you. Healthily.
Health. I know. I said.
Oh, my bad.
Healthily, in their home, than seeing an unhealthy version on social media, in pornography, on the streets. Like, let me show you what this looks like. Because on the opposite side, I think some of my views come from the fact that my mom, after my brother was born, so there's 10 years between me and my brother. And so for 10 years, I really didn't see my mom dating anyone. She dated someone, she got pregnant, they had my brother, he was around for a couple of years. And then my mom had decided that she wasn't dating anyone until we were older. So I should say in front of us. She had her little, whatever she did, her little sneaky links, whatever y'all call them nowadays. But she didn't bring that in front of us. Yeah. She didn't bring that home. Like, she went out, had her fun or whatever. And all we knew was mom was single and she wasn't messing with nobody. So that's all I saw. I never saw a man lovingly affectionate towards a woman. My grandparents, by the time I came around, had been married for so long that they didn't do that stuff no more. Like, they weren't kissing and hugging. They just was two old people living in the house together who cooked breakfast and dinner for each other. It was like they had a business arrangement at that point. So growing up, or so I should say, in my adult relationships, I wasn't super affectionate. I still don't think that I'm super affectionate. Like, that belief, or I don't know, what is that? Context is still with me that, like, I'm not sure how to do that yet. I'm not sure how to, like, be all over you because I didn't see it modeled. And for a lot of people like me who grew up without a father, like, having that affection from a man feels strange. Like, it feels foreign. So I don't want my kids to see that, like, oh, every time daddy came to give mommy a hug, like, mommy ran away. So I'm trying to break down that stuff. And I definitely don't think that your kids when they grow older and they know that adults have sex and married people have sex and can't think of one time where it's like, I never seen my mom and dad do that stuff. Because that's how they're going to play out in their relationships.
Yeah. And I would say, just in our personal chapter right now, I would say affection is one thing that I don't think is an issue for us. I know internally there might be some stuff there, but I would say I'm appreciative of how you just kind of lean into it. You know
I definitely feel like I'm making, it's just like you said in the beginning, like we are learning what it's like to be married to each other. So I'm trying to drop that old context. I have to make a conscious effort to be like, okay, he wants to hug you, he wants to kiss you, like you should do that to him too. Like I still have to think about it, but now I don't have that part of me that's like, no, don't do it. What if he rejects you?
Yeah.
What if he don't want? Like that, I don't have to fight that anymore.
For sure.
Now it's just turning it on to make it more intuitive than just like, oh, I have to cognitively think about, okay, go give your husband a hug, go give your husband a kiss. I'm at that point where I have to tell myself, you got to go do that. It's time. It's been a couple hours.
That's good. That's good. In my context, in my homo origin, like I had two parents there. But I would say as well, like it wasn't a very like affectionate household. You know what I mean? Like my mom grew up in a context similar to yours.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Her father passed away when she was young. For the majority of her life, my grandmother was single. She's definitely the matriarch of that side of the family. So from her perspective, you know, the woman runs stuff, you know, and men are, you always phrase this very well.
Me?
Yeah, there's I don't know where you got this phrase from. I don't know if it's one of your slogans or what, but you always say this, and it's catchy as heck. Men are accessory and not a necessity. Did you come up with that?
I did. That
When
was
it
off
rhymes,
the top of the dome.
When it rhymes, it always has a good little. Men are accessory, not a necessity.
That's how I grew up, though, for sure.
Yeah, so I think she grew up with a similar context. So because of that, that was just a reality I grew up in. And I think even when we were going through like our marriage counseling, I started realizing like how I'm wired versus how I was raised. I carry some residue with that too. Like affection holds a little more weight with me because, you know, my mom wasn't very affectionate. She ain't the hug, kiss you, and you know.
But you needed that and you craved that, for
sure. So, right now we're talking about affection. We're talking about intimacy in marriages, but just in general, generational stuff doesn't get lifted without intentionality.
Absolutely.
Someone has to be intentional. We were just talking about
break the cycle.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, your brother, like we enjoy seeing the relationship with his family and our nephew growing up. But that's intention. That's intention. Like when he's, you know, working on something, got a tape measure out and he's got a tape measure right there, or if he's shoveling and the little boy our nephew's right there with his little shovel, like that is intention. You know what I mean? And even in the space of your marriages, if we're talking about how you were raised, things you want to give your kids that you didn't get, it's going to take intention. It's going to make, okay, like I've never done this, but okay, here, you know, like let's hold hands. Like, I know it's not my comfort level. You know, when the kids are here, I would prefer if they were gone so I can really get into it. But you know what, like I'm not going to suffer in a non-intimate relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to show my kids this version of what a marriage looks like.
And I think that's what I was saying, why the only way to get over that is to just start doing it. Because for me, it was a huge barrier, just affection in general. But the more I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Like, if he pushes me away, then, okay, it doesn't mean he doesn't love me. Like, okay, he's never pushed me away. And so.
Crave it. I ain't never going to push it away, ever.
At some point, it's now starting to switch from like, oh, I can just do this for him to like, no, I need this. Like, I like this.
Now you be checking me.
Yeah,
like,
the
so
days you come home, you think you're just going to leave this house and you're not going to give me a kiss? I have a problem with that.
Can I talking about that? Like, let me tell you about this little thug here, like, going to check me when I get into the house, talking about something. Hey, yo, earlier you had left and you don't leave here without giving me no kiss.
Period.
I was like, yo, calm down, Debo. Like,
I don't know. We don't do that over here.
Yo,
like
OG
you done set a
triple-
standard.
OG
so now
triple
you
OG,
gotta
calm
hold it.
down. Like I went to Dollar General. I was gonna be right back.
You need to tell me goodbye. You let me and give me a kiss. Like I don't know what you're doing.
That is dope. That at one point, the thing that we were anxious about, now we feel comfortable enough to crave it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, it was intimacy. For yours is affection. Like, but it's telling how like through intentional relationship, we can kind of undo those stories we told ourselves.
Absolutely.
We can give ourselves a new context. We can start to heal. And it's amazing. This is what marriage is supposed to be.
You took the words out of my mouth. Like
Absolutely.
that's what marriage is for. Like I know on this podcast we have preached like don't come into a relationship unhealed. But there's some stuff that you just don't even know that you're not healed from until you get in another relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And if that relationship is
functioning the way it's supposed to,
it's going to bring up those old wounds, but it's also going to expose them in a way that now allows them to be healed. Now, you're in the wrong relationship if it brings up those old wounds and it makes them feel worse. But when it's a situation where it's like, oh no, this is being exposed, so now we can take care of it, that is some of the best product of marriage, like the best harvest that comes out of this situation, like two becoming one. So if there's something in me that's not in you and it's bringing us down, like we got to expose it and we got to heal it. And having a partner who doesn't shame you for having things that like, yes, it's unnatural to you that why would you not want to be affectionate with me? Like I can't compute my mind around that, but you understand that there's context. There are things that I have experienced that have made me this way, and I'm not being shamed for that, but you're trying to help me grow and love those parts of me so that I can give those parts to you. Yeah. Like that's so dope. Like I love that I can see areas in our relationship where I have completely changed from the person that I was.
Absolutely. It's a true kingdom covenant is designed to function like a mirror. Like it shows you in the same way, like, before we step out, like we get to that mirror and be like, hey, let me make sure I'm all right. Mm-hmm. It can be frustrating when you look in the mirror and something's off or it's not the way you want it to be. But we don't get mad at the mirror. Mm-hmm. We just fix what needs to get fixed. We straighten our collar or whatever it is. And if we can look at marriage in that way, I think it'll help us get over some of our stuff. Because being seen is terrifying. Like it's easy to be seen when it's in the light that you prefer. Like when you see me and I look like how I want to be seen. Mm-hmm. But when you see me and you see the broken pieces, when you see me and you see the thing that I don't want you to see. I've hid this my whole life, and here you are. You see it. I can't tell you how many times she's been like, "Hey, yo, why you don't do this?" or "Why you say it like that?" And I'm, nah, you try to play it off, but behind that, like when you're able to lean into those things, that's when healing comes, right? Like there's a reason why, God brings this community of covenant together between you and another person. Is because God sharpens us in that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Just thinking of that, iron sharpens iron. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to be in a relationship that's just dulling me so that when I go out in the world, like I'm not the best version of me. Yeah. Like marriage is ministry. Mm-hmm. Like it's ministry in your home, but it's also ministry to everyone who has an eye into that. And if like I'm going out in the world and I'm tarnishing people, I'm functioning in a way that's hurting people and not healing people, like it's a reflection of my marriage. What is broken down here? Yeah. So I don't always like to be corrected by you, something that I'm still working on. But every time that I feel like I am being corrected by you, I can see an area of my life where it's like, oh, you need to fix that. Because when you go out in the world, when people look at you, they can't see that. Like, okay, It bothers him, but if it bothers him, it's going to bother somebody else. Like, and so that's something about you that you need to change. Like, you can't speak to everybody like they you, because they not you. So so me learning how to speak to you is helping me go out in the world and learn how to speak to other people.
For sure. Yeah, I think when we can lean into those areas, that's when we start truly seeing growth in ourselves, right? Like when our partner's voice doesn't become when we stop hearing it like judgment,
Criticism.
when we stop hearing it like criticism. And I think sometimes it is criticism, and I think that could be healthy.
Constructive.
Like when it's done the right way. You know what I mean? But when we can hear it and know the heart of the person, that's the one thing that helped me, is like when I learned your heart and I didn't have to just assume the motive or assume the driving heart posture behind the comment. I was like, no, she loved me. She loved me. So if she's pointing this out, it's because it has to be because she genuinely sees that this is an area that needs my attention, or she sees there's an area where I need to grow. You know what I mean? And now, don't get me wrong. This sounds real rosy, but clearly this is easier said than done.
It's not hard to hear bad things about yourself, especially things.
It's not easy.
Yeah. What did I say?
It's just not hard.
Yes. It's not easy to hear things about yourself that aren't, especially what you want to present. Like, I want to present confident. I want to present assured of myself. But the person who has the closest up view of me, if you see something that's like, that look a little bit like insecurity, I'm like, no, of course that's not insecurity when it truly is. Like, it's not easy to accept that. Like,
especially when you don't see it. Because there's things you
100%.
brought to me and I'm just like, no.
I don't see that. That's
like,
your favorite line. I don't see it like that.
Just like, no. Like, there's some
You're
stuff that
so
legitimately be like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, that is not me. And then I do better after. In conversation, I do terrible.
Yes, that's true. I agree.
Yep.
I concur.
How do you do in conversation?
Yeah, probably the same.
We both suck at conversations. Just be trash. We got to work on that. Because in the moment, nope, wrong, block, deny, shut up. Anyways.
Or I'd be like, I see it, but like.
Yeah, you off.
You're wrong.
Yeah. You got to work on you. There's something wrong with your eyes. Because what are you talking about?
But I think it helps that we know that about each other. That
yeah.
All right. She might not receive this now, but I'm still say it. So
I'm trying to work on my receiving in the moment.
Ooh.
That's one thing I'm trying to work on. Like,
pray your strength in the Lord.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on that because, like, I shouldn't have to put someone who's trying to help me through the rigmarole of working through my stuff to help me. Like, it's good that I get it on the back end and that I can process and talk to God and at some point work through it. But I want to do better serving in the place of, like, you have space to talk to me, even when I don't agree. And I really want to work on that. Like, once again, easier said than done. But like,
but it's practice. Like, I feel like as our partners, it does either of us no good to shy away from the hard conversations.
Yeah.
Like, if we're just sitting here glazing past everything, like everything is roses, like the true stuff that is really needs to be talked about, if we're not talking about it, it's going to eventually come up
100%.
And it's going to come up in a way that's not healthy for either of us.
Absolutely.
It's not productive for either of us or our relationship. So for me, like, that's what I've always kind of told you, like, okay, I don't want to hear you in the moment. And I might work on that. I might not. But what you always have a commitment from me is that, like, I'm going to process it. In the moment, it's really hard for me because I grew up in a highly critical environment.
So defensive.
So it's like I always, and I felt like nobody else stuck up for me. So I got to stick up for myself. So when you come to me with something that feels like a dagger, I'm like, nope, you're wrong. But it's never just going in one ear and out the other. That stuff always settles in my heart. And one thing I know about God is he always, everything that you've said that I have not received, like, he's been like, he was right. And I have to come back and be like, okay. And I hope you see changed behavior. So why I got a little problem talking back and I got a little problem trying to defend myself. If I agree, and it's, even if I don't agree, but I see it's an area that I can improve in, I'm gonna try that.
I can say that wholeheartedly, that although we're moving at our own pace, on both of our ends, I can see the growth. You know, when I look back on our season of marriage counseling and trying to work through issues with finances and stuff, I remember I couldn't get through talking about finances without like visceral signs of discomfort.
You still can't.
Well, if we turn down the street of discomfort, I'm gonna feel it.
You still be sweating when we talk about
not
money.
all the time, not all the time. But if it's like, babe, did you pay the bill? Hold on, wait, which one?
I swear I paid that. No, you know you didn't.
When the heat gets turned on, that's when I feel it. That's when I feel it. But no, it's just been a lot of growth. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful. So if you're one of the people that struggles with intimacy,
you can try to circle it back.
Yeah, around barriers, growth. Like honestly, just for lack of a better way to say it, ain't nothing to it but to do it. You just got to try. You got to jump in there and find your way around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it can start with just little stuff, like just like touching each other. Like maybe you don't have to have the full act. Maybe it's a little bit of fellatio. Maybe it's, just intimate touch or a nice massage or laying together naked until you feel comfortable enough to jump in there and do it. Like you don't have to just jump in and have sex, because especially for women, I can't speak from a man's perspective, but if my head ain't in it, then my body's not going to respond.
And that's where I think most men and women, not all the time, like this isn't monolith. But
yeah, work on our vocabulary. We done did it a couple times this last episode.
Jeez Louise. We rusty, y'all. We ain't potted in a minute. Look. But men, we're a little different in that way. Like if we make a decision or if it's something we want to do, our body just gonna go. Our head don't really gotta be that into it. But I think it's a good challenge for the men who are on the other end of this, right? Where they're with a woman who's not comfortable. We got to do a better job of like easing them into a level of comfort. Like sometimes we just get so focused on what it is we want from this scenario that we don't think about what we're also giving in that scenario. Right? Like we want to have sex, but you ain't having sex by yourself. You know what I mean? And for this to be an experience that both you guys are, sharing and it's enjoyable, you got to be willing to ease them into it. And maybe it's some days where y'all not just jumping in and getting straight to the dude. Like maybe it's like you said, there's some days where you're just establishing intimacy. I never forget, real quick, and I know we about to get up out of here. Brandi used to always talk about this, like, I can't remember what we were watching. It might have been, was it Goop? Or maybe it might have been How to Build a Sex Room on Netflix. But it was this couple that was just staring at each other and like rubbing each other's arms. And like they had all these, all right, here's beautiful. A feather. And I was like, yo, this is like, I'm not with that. Like our sex is fine. We have a grand time.
It was intimate touch without actually having sex.
And then there was one, they were just like staring at each other, like really looking into each other's eyes lovingly. And I was like, yeah, this is like on camera looks cool, but like if we try to do this, it's gonna be like we're just gonna be staring at each other and it's weird. Like let's just get to what we gonna do. But when I say I don't even know how we got it, there was this one point where like I think we were just kissing for the sake of kissing. I don't think it was kissing to like have sex. But that just pure intimacy of just holding each other, being present with one another, not for the sake of having sex, but just for the sake of connection. When I say it led to some of the most mind-blowing, like, I wish I had like a rocket sound effect, but it was amazing. And there's so much space where men can just learn to like just take a step back and just be present. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of men will be really surprised about where that will take your intimacy in your marriage.
Yeah. So, I mean, baby steps, but also eventually you're going to have to get over that, especially if your children are in the home 24/7. If it's not feasible to send them away every other day or however much y'all have agreed y'all need sex per week, like you have to be able to break through that barrier. And like like, I think the great thing is if you enjoy having sex with your partner, like this is a fun thing to work through. This don't have to be like a chore.
Nah.
Like if y'all already enjoy being intimate with one another, which it sounds like they do, because she said when they not home, it's on and popping.
Yeah.
So like pretend that they're not home.
It's a game. Even when they're home, hide and go get it. Like, shh, be quiet. Don't get
There's
this call.
lots of places in the house to hide and have sex. Like, trust me, you can make a whole game out of it.
Absolutely.
And then if not, y'all got to start spending some money. Go get a hotel room.
That part, 100%. As long as you're willing,
You gotta
there's
make
a
it
way.
happen.
If you're willing, there's a way. Man, listen, we are so excited to be back, y'all. Like, I will say, I wasn't 100% sure about it till we hit this record button and got into it, but it feels good. Does it feel good?
Feels good to be home.
I love it. I love it. I don't even remember what day the episode's post. When is this?
So this episode will be out Tuesday,
Which
March
means we go
18th, and we will
live.
go live on Thursday. At 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook. That could change.
Yeah.
We got a lot going on in life now.
Thursday,
So
8:30.
that definitely could change, but right now we're going to aim to stick to the same schedule, and you will know if something changes with the What They Never Told Us podcast.
Absolutely. Listen, glad to be back, and I hope y'all ain't forgot. We love love.
And y'all should love too.
Peace.